Meeting at Peterborough, which was the 4-team tournament. This is an individual meeting, every man for himself, and there are 12 riders with some of the best in the business. Number 1 is Nigel Lever, 25-year-old rider who's on loan to Kings Lynn from Eastbourne. He's one of 4 Kings Lynn riders enjoying home track advantage here. Number 2, Chris Lewis, skipper of Ipswich Witches, world under-21 champion, recently made his England debut. Andy Graham, former British champion, currently on loan to Eastbourne from Oxford, experienced England international with 17 caps. Sean Wilson, another England international, 21 years old, was here at Kings Lynn on loan last year, now with First Division High Flyers Bradford. Henrik Gustafsson, the Swedish international, in his first full season with Kings Lynn, top rider this year for the Stars, and he's one to watch here. Zdeněk Tesar, Czechoslovakian, riding for Ipswich, his first season in British Speedway, a real tryout, they call him Sam. Richard Knight, a big favourite here, Kings Lynn skipper for 4 years until this season, England international, also a former Ipswich rider, now with Berwick. Bohumil Brill, a Czechoslovakian international, the most improved rider here at Kings Lynn this year, his teammates call him Bob. Dennis Lofquist, another Kings Lynn rider, Swedish international, enigmatic performer, but when he gets it right, he takes some beating. Joe Screen, just 18, the youngest rider here, British under-21 champion, huge potential, he rides for Bellevue. Sam Ermolenko, the American star, one of the top 4 riders in the world, indeed tipped by many to lift the world title this year. He rides for Wolverhampton and he's the man to beat here. And Gary Havelock, the British champion with Bradford, controversial character, had his scrapes with the authorities, but he should pose the main threat to Ermolenko.
Mainly you've got to finish in the top 8 for the first part of the meeting, obviously, to get you through the semi-final. So really, it's probably as well just to finish, probably in the at least you finished, you can get through and you can hold yourself ready for the semi-final and the final. But I think Sam Ermolenko is probably going to be the favourite for the meeting. He won a very good meeting on Wednesday at Cradley, which has got to put him up there amongst the favourites. But like I said, everybody's going to be out there, going to be really hot and furious today.
And Richard Knight was absolutely right. From the start of Heat 1, it was fast and furious and hot out there, and so it proved throughout the competition, which was to build up to an extraordinary climax. Here, 22-year-old Gary Havelock in the white helmet went on to take the first points, with Sam Ermolenko in yellow and black finishing second, and Chris Lewis in blue coming third. In this format, it's 15 heats, with each of the 12 riders getting 5 rides. The top 8 scorers go into the semi-finals, and then 4 into the final, which will be over 6 laps. Right, let's hand over to commentator Dave Lanning and see one of the championship favourites in action for the first time.
There is rider which the East Anglian crowd here were hoping to carry their colours. Henrik Gustafsson, 20-year-old from Kumla in Sweden, who signed for the Zetor Stars here at Saddleback Road
last year. It's in his first
full season of racing over here, currently boasting a 9.50 point average, which is a very, very good return. He really is a fast performer.
It's young Master Gustafsson, much sought after, and he's in good company here in heat number 2.
Because we have another of the Kings Lynn riders, another of their continental imports. This is Bo Brell from Czechoslovakia, 26-year-old, World Pairs finalist, and he's still in the 1991 World Individual Championship, and he gets around Kings Lynn. He's on a brand new bike today, absolutely brand split new, just been given to him by a sponsor. Here we are on the outside here. So looking at the lineup, on the inside Gustafsson, next to him Czechoslovakian Tesar, then Richard Knight and white on the outside Bo Brell. Heat 2. Looked like a good start from the Czechoslovakian Tesar. Tesar leads, coming hard after him is Richard Knight, but Tesar, Zdeněk Tesar from Ipswich in front here, a late replacement, and he loves Kings Lynn. He really is going strong now. Gustafsson's worked his way into second place, and Gustafsson in the red helmet going hard after him. And Zdeněk Tesar, world finalist last year, and he's moving out quite obligingly. That'll let Gustafsson through. Gustafsson moves through the gap there as Tesar just overclocked the third corner of lap 2. And it looks like he's going to a wedding. In fact, he's trailing. That's sort of his visor goals. And he's in trouble now, T-Star, because he has got Richard Nyrod on his tail. But Gustafsson, the home favourite, missed the start, had to come from third place here. And he's looking good. Gustafsson just about holding on around the last corner. He wins it 3 points win, 2 for T-Star, 1 for Richard Knight. And some resourceful racing from Henke Gustafsson from Kings Lynn. And here is Joe Screen at 18, the youngest, the baby of the lineup from Chesterfield in Derbyshire. He's arrived with Bellevue in Manchester. He's a World Under-21 semi-finalist, although it's not quite confirmed yet, as he missed his round. They're hoping to see him through. But Joe is a tough customer, so he's number 3 coming up. Lofquist, Wilson, Graham, Screen from the inside, and they're under orders. Back one, it actually looks as though Joe Screen might get away, but in fact it's Sean Wilson who hits the dash, a real dash up to the first turn. Wilson leads it, second place is Screen, third place is Andy Graham, and at the back is Lofquist. And this... Well, Joe Screen just perhaps winded from that spectacular up and over. He will be excluded from the restart, has been the clear cause of the stoppage. Just picked up the drive and... T-bone, let's look at it again. You can see Wilson in front and Screen. Well, Wilson came across in front of him. Joe Screen T-boned him over the top there. And sliding into the fence.
Joe, looks painful. What happened there?
Yeah, I just picked a bit of drive, an unexpected drive, and I just couldn't help but miss on. Which is one of them things, really.
Took a bit of a knock into the fence there. Winded, I think.
No, I'm alright. Just banged my head a bit in my hands, so I'll be alright.
Well, there's a familiar face in the pits. It's Michael Lee, former world champion, with Richard Knight there. And Michael's career currently still in the melting pot. We're waiting for his return. He has been injured, and really only he could tell us what he's going to do, because he escaped further disciplinary action after missing a drugs test here, and his career on the balance at the moment. And the restart of heat number 3 with Lofquist on the inside, there Wilson on the outside. Now it's Andy Graham in the white helmet.
Graham got away this time.
Graham away, he's in white. Second place is Lofquist. Third place coming hard is Wilson. Andy Graham swinging way out wide. Has Lofquist got the steam to get under it? White had the legs on him. Lofquist going hard, but Graham holding on here with Speedway in heat number 3. Looked as though Lofquist had the drop on Graham there, but he's being moved over now. And now it is Sean Wilson in blue who's come through to take up the challenge on the leader. Andy Graham, former British champion. This way back in 1982, almost 10 years ago. Hard to contemplate that fact. Into the last lap, it's 374 yards around Saddlebow Road. And Graham taking advantage of a good start, but there's still time perhaps for one last charge from Sean the Prawn Wilson. Going to move back, but Graham is aware of that move. He wins heat 3. Second place is Wilson, third is Lofquist. All the competitors have now completed the first of their 5 starts, and then we have 2 semis and a final. And the 3 race winners, Andy Graham, Henke Gustafsson and Gary Havelock. And in second place in their first ride we had Sean Wilson, Zdenek Tisar and Samer Milenko. Well, this is one of the unbeaten riders, and that's Henrik Gustafsson. Henke, 21 next month, and he certainly must be a future hope for world honours. There is Bo Briel, the Czechoslovakian, no scorer last time out on a new bike, seemed to be feeling his way. Then Nigel Lever in blue, we'll have a look at him there. He's just being called in by the start marshal. He's in blue. Grid 3 is Gustafsson, and on the outside is Dennis Lofquist in yellow and black in that checkered helmet. Heat number 4, Gustafsson in grid 3, a former race winner. And away this time, and it looks though it is Gustafsson and Brill together. Much better start from Brill, and Brill running Gustafsson out very wide indeed. This is better stuff from the young Czech. He really seems to have got that new motor tuned in perfectly now. He's leading heat number 4. Gustafsson is second, and third place is Dennis Lofquist. Now, Gustafsson He's an exciting rider from the back, but he has got a young rival who's really going beautifully at the moment. Battle really on now. We'll see Gustafsson switching inside out, looking for the hole. He seems to have found it. Beautiful piece of overtaking. Made his move, just sat back, waited for the opening to arrive, and when it was there, he flashed through. He really is a terrific rider, this Swede. No wonder Bill Barker here was ready to pay a king's ransom for him. Just chose his moment. Brill was going well, just left the gap. He was through. That's the second race win. I think Gustafsson. Second place is Brill. Third place it is Lofquist. And here is the moment. Let's look at it again in replay. You can see he's swinging back. He's anticipating that Brill is going to just miss the corner slightly. He has just got that glimpse of daylight, and through he goes. Perfectly fair. Doesn't rush him in too hard. Absolutely immaculate cornering. He's in front and set for 3 more points.
Henke, well done. Race went well for you.
Yeah,
Been going to miss the gate, but
I've done some good races after that, so.
That's 2 wins for you. As you say, you're not starting too well, but coming from behind, doing it the hard way.
Yeah, it's better for the crowd.
Heat 5 coming your way.
And there is Chris Louis from
Ipswich, who successfully led his Witches squad to success in the National Fours. We saw that on Anglia. That was at Peterborough. Not quite such a happy afternoon so far here at Kings Lynn, just across the East Country. Just a third place first time out, and he is in white here, Chris Louis, and will be needing to pick up his performance to do sufficient to qualify for the semi-finals. Across the line again, Wilson red, then Richard Knight in blue, Louis is in white, helmet in, grid 3 in, Tissar on the outside, yellow and black, heat 5. There's a rare battle up to that first corner, and this time it is Louis who gets away. A terrific piece of starting from him, and it's getting a bit tight at the back there, going bursting through. It is Knight in second place, third place it is Wilson and Tissar, who seem to get away. Just got squeezed out around that first lap, but this is more like Chris Louis, and Dan will be happy about this. There you can see them lining up in lap 3 of heat number 5.
got to be good.
And he is winning this one by a very long way. Over the line, 3 points for him. Second place is Knight. Third place, it is Wilson. Ermolenko is a good all-round rider, not a particularly good gaiter, but he normally gets out with the boys at the very least. He goes very quickly when he's in front. It's a good start, it's a great team man. Very brave guy this. He's had some horrific injuries and he's come back. And really, it would be no great surprise if he were to win the world title. He's been third once before. He's been unlucky in other finals. Maybe this is his year. What's he going to do here in heat number 6? So he's on the inside. Next to him, Bo Briel, who had no score in his first ride. A good second place next time out. Joe Screen in grid 3 needs points here to look for qualification on the outside. Andy Graham in yellow and black. Heat 6. Away it is time. And it looks like Briel's got away, and Ermolenko goes boring down on the line. Ermolenko in front, Briel is second. In third place it is Joe Screen and Andy Graham relegated at the back, and here comes Briel around the outside of Sam Ermolenko. Top.
Oh, heat number 6 is getting a bit hot and sweaty.
Well, Ermolenko in front, and when he's got the line and he's got the fresh air, he's a very difficult man to reel in. Into the last lap, 374 yards, we remind you, around Saddlebow Road. Joe Screen, the 18-year-old from Manchester, won't give up, and Ermolenko's aware of him, and Ermolenko suddenly saw, and that was complacency. Now it's going to be a close call, and Joe Screen is going to pick him off, and Screen nearly caught Ermolenko half asleep there. That's really inexplicable because Sam had the line. He must have been aware of the challenge coming. Well, here it is again, just when we were thinking that Ermolenko wouldn't be caught, Joe Screen had different ideas. And Ermolenko here, well, was he aware of the challenge? He certainly left enough room for Joe Screen to come around the outside. And when he saw him there, well, it was just a bit too late to thwart the effort. And that was really non-stop trying from Joe Screen, really paying dividends.
Sam, what happened there?
I had bike problems. It was dying in the corners, and I think it was fuel or something, and just wasn't going. Once I got going, it just started slowing way down, so that was my excuse.
You got a bit of work then?
Yeah, well, there you go. We'll make the best of it. We've still got 3 more races.
Heat 7, Wilson in red has 2 points. Gustafsson next to him in blue has 6. Lever no score, Hamlock on the outside with a win to his credit. And away they go up to that first corner. That is Gustafsson, and Hamlock has totally missed the start. In front it is Gustafsson. In second place it is Wilson. Bursting through now, Havelock into 3rd place, but he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to catch Gustafsson or even pick up his Bradford teammate, and that is Sean Wilson. Now the real battle here between the 2 Yorkshiremen in 2nd and 3rd, Sean Wilson and Gary Havelock, with Gustafsson a mile clear, and the young Swede based here at Kings Lynn really is looking superb at the moment. Havelock unable to make any kind of ground at all really on the first 2, made a terrible start. Gustafsson wins it. 2nd place it is Sean Wilson, 3rd place is Havelock. And so now the crowd are beginning to get the buzz because Gustafsson is beginning to open daylight between himself and his rivals. Heat 8 coming your way. There is Chris Louis, who had a 3rd in his first outing, then came to life last time out with a cracking race win. He has 4 points. There is Sam Ermolenko with 2 second places. Unexpected that Ermolenko had yet to win a race coming into his 3rd start. So Tison on the inside has 2 points thus far. Ermolenko has 4, Lofquist in grid 3 has 2, and Chris Louis has 4. Heat number 8. Away this time, and Louis seems to have got the drop around the outside. He has since 2nd place is Tison. 3rd place is Ermolenko, coming hard at his Lofquist. And Louis, well, we were just saying the outside hadn't been that helpful, but he certainly made it pay there. He leads it. 2nd place is Tison, and he's got his great idol Sam Ermolenko coming underneath here. He's not going to give away too easily. The battle is for 2nd place with Louis up front. It would appear that Ermolenko just doesn't seem to have the horsepower, doesn't have the steam. Trying hard again to get down the inside. I think he might just have it here. No, Tison's going to hold on. As he goes to the last lap, it's shoulder to shoulder. And Sam Ermolenko having to really screw everything on. And he still hasn't shaken off Tison for that 2nd place has now. Louis will win it. 2nd place as Tison goes right around the boards and disappears in a cloud of dust on the last corner. So here's that last lap again. Chris Louis, let's forget about him, he's going to win his in a canter. Here's the battle for 2nd place between Ermolenko on the inside. Well, he moves in here. Tison in the red helmet, of course, has a tradition of Czechoslovakian courage and determination. They don't give in, these Eastern Europeans. Ermolenko sort of shakes him off there on the boards. Now what happens now? Keep your eye on the rider in red. He drifts wider and wider and wider and picks up the fence and goes down just ever so gracefully. Well, scant reward for a fine effort from the Czech. Coming into heat 9. Remember, they have 5 starts each, then they go into 2 semis and a final, so it's a conceivability that you can go into the final unbeaten and then get stuffed and come out with nothing. That's the joy of this particular discipline, but not for the rider who might be unbeaten and get stuffed. Heat number 9, and we have got Joe Screen here in white, who had a spectacular fall first time out, picked himself up and dusted himself down and came out and rode around these slowing Sam Ermolenko to record a win last time out. Joe Screen 18, the babe of the party, and there is Richard Knight, who is a former Kings Lynn specialist. And the lineup for Heat 9, Andy Graham, if he hops out, takes some catching, he's on the inside, has 3 points. Next to him, Gary Havelock, who's blown hot and cold, will win the third in grid 2. Grid 3 has Joe Screen, who doesn't normally start with 3, and on the outside, Richard Knight in 3. All these riders need points in Heat 9. And it looks like it is on the outside there. Richard Knight got a flyer. He's away, second place coming hard. It is Gary Havelock, and Andy Graham really gets swept aside as first Havelock, and then Screen made his move. The odd points, but it was Richard Knight who used his experience of this Saddlebow Road circuit. Just got the gate, knew the line to pick, and now he's got Gary Havelock beginning to get him in his sights, and Joe Screen is still in contention here. The track is a bit on the slick side. It's getting just a trifle difficult to find the necessary drive and momentum
To pass.
Havelock won't stop trying. It's the last lap. Knight needing points. Havelock in second place. Screen still working hard in third. Graham tailed off. It'll be Richard Knight for 3 points, so he'll be happy.
Second place, Havelock. Third place, Screen.
So the leaderboard with 3 rides complete. Just one rider unbeaten. That's Henrik Gustafsson on 9 points. Chris Louis has 7. Then we have 3 guys on 6. Samuel Malenko, Gary Havelock, Richard Knight. Sean Wilson has 5, Joe Screen has 4. Then we have 3 riders all vying for the final qualification place. Remember, 8 for the semis. That's Andy Graham, Bo Brill, and Dennis Lofquist. And to see who makes the semis and the final, join us after this break.
Welcome back to Kings Lynn, and more from the Barnum Trophy meeting in a few moments, but we're just going to ease off the throttle now and take a closer look at how a Speedway bike works. Here with some of the terms and techniques is former England rider, now Kings Lynn manager, Dave Jessup.
The Speedway's a very easy game. We've got a clutch on the left-hand side and a throttle on this side, and as people should be aware, there's no brakes whatsoever on a Speedway machine. We've got a cut-out switch here, which goes around the rider's wrist. If he is unfortunate enough to fall off, then it automatically cuts the engine dead. Small fuel tank holds a couple of pints of fuel just to do the one race, and it's refueled. This tube here used to be an oil tank, and I'm afraid these days the engines are totally oil sufficient. There's oil in the tank, and it is recirculated with a very, very small pump. We've got a silencer here on the rear end. This is to keep the noise level down to 102 decibels. The Barnum tyre here is a shallow, low-profile tyre. Very, very soft rubber, not due to last more than 1 meeting before the rider straight away and start again with a new edge. It's very, very competitive, and if you don't start with a new edge, then you're giving everybody yard at the start. Well, we've got the clutch on the left-hand side here, as I said. That's operated by the clutch down. It's a straight in and out situation. You let the clutch out, the bike goes forward. You pull it in, it allows the wheels to go free, and you coast to a stop as soon as possible. Okay, well, gearing is purely the ratio of speed. I mean, obviously with only one gear, you have to prejudge the size of the track. If you've got a 200-yard track, you've got to have the right sprockets to make the engine rev to its maximum performance. And that's what the boys do on the rear here. They change the sprockets from 62 to 56, depending on the size of the track and the surface. It can be like an inch deep
Or 2 inches deep, and the riders have to
mentally judge that before the off and get the decision right. I would think possibly most of them would start with a 59 or 58 today, but obviously if somebody really wants to win and feels very, very strong, he may well venture to 57 or 56, because that will give a top speed 10 or 20 mile an hour faster than the other guys.
Right, back to the action. 6 more heats left to decide the semi-final races. That's the point scoring so far. Over to Dave Lanning.
Remember, 8 to qualify for the 2 semis, then it's a knockout basis, and it's an all-to-go for final. So, Knight on the inside as we look across the line in Heat 10. Then Lofquist. Grid 3 has Ermolenko on the outside. It is Wilson. Heat 10. The better start from Ermolenko. A real flying start on one wheel from Ermolenko. He leads at second place. It is Knight. Third place it is Wilson. And Lofquist at the back. And now here comes Knight hard under Sam Ermolenko. Just shuts the gap down on the inside there, and the lead is track craft now, because Knight is the track specialist here and knows where the line, where the grip is here at Saddlebow Road, and here he comes now, straight through on the inside of Ermolenko. He did seem to have an extra gear there, and Ermolenko coming back under him now. Pretty fair speedway action here. Ermolenko drives the hole through, and coming into contention is Sean Wilson. And this again is really speedway for the connoisseur. Inside and outside, it is Knight and Ermolenko swapping positions, and now Knight trying the inside drive again against Sam Ermolenko. Still in contention very much. It is Sean Wilson as they come around the last couple of bends and hard around the outside. Who will have the drop? Right on the line, it looked like Ermolenko held on by about half a wheel from Richard Knight. But that really was a collector's item. Well, let's look at that last lap again, because it was a tight finish. Ermolenko in front. Richard Knight in the red helmet is in second place. Wilson's in third place. Knight tries to run down the inside. Ermolenko is aware of the threat, moves across. And Richard Knight knows now that his only avenue of attack really is around the outside as Ermolenko hugs the curb. And Knight gets around there. They turn back for the line together now. Who gets it right on the finishing line? Ermolenko has been given it, but it was a close one.
I think he knew I was having a bit of troubles, and he was weighing me up, and he got me, and then I got him back, and then it was just, I just was a bit in a position more to kind of move him out in one of the corners, which gave me the run, and I just kind of held on for whatever I had, and he went for the big one around, and you almost got me. It was close.
Almost.
As you say, I mean, even from our position, it was so close we could hardly tell if there's any consolation.
That's right, you know, it was pretty close on the line, and that's just speedway, and the referee's got to make a decision for one person unless he makes it a dead heat, and obviously in this sort of meeting, you know, he's going to do what he done.
I got a toaster out of it. I'll split it with you. You get one slice.
Okay, fine, yeah.
Okay.
Heat 11, Louis on the inside, then Andy Graham. Grid 3 has Bo Briel on the outside, Gustafsson. Heat 11. Gustafsson yet to be beaten, and he's going to get squeezed out of the first corner here by both Briel, and here comes Gustafsson, and Briel is in front. He's not going to hold on to Gustafsson for too long. In third place it is Chris Louis, and really soaring now. Henke Gustafsson didn't make the start, kept going. What an exciting lap this is. He's in first place. Second place Bo Briel, who needs points, and then Chris Louis, who it has to be said has been up and down, had two really outstanding race wins, missed the start here, and is now looking not really too comfortable in his attempts to catch Bo Briel, and he's has him and Gustafsson disappearing over the horizon up front. Track is slickening up now. It's a really sultry tropical afternoon here in East Anglia. And Gustafsson is winning his duel in the sun. Second place is Briel. Third place is Chris Louis, which is a surprise, but he should have still have done enough to qualify with those two race wins. Well, let's look at the start again, and into the first corner. It is Briel in white as Louis gets trapped down on the curve, and watch Gustafsson. He's out there. He's really wrestling his bike. He's got the line, he's got the throttle open, he comes around the outside there. There's just no holding the lad. Heat number 12 coming your way, and an interesting bag here with riders needing points to qualify, but there's one who really doesn't. Richard Knight, he'll be on the inside. He has a total of 8 points, which should carry him through into the semis, but anything can happen. Looking next to him, Joe Screen has 4 and a fall, so he needs points here. Grid 3 has Zdenek Tisar, who had a second place. That's the only points he's got actually, but he's been an entertaining competitor. And on the outside, Nigel Lever with no score. Heat number 12. And it's Knight that's away. Knight and Screen in second place and third place. It is Tisar and Richard Knight in front and looking to consolidate a place in the semi-finals, and Tisar going out wide again on that top turn. The Czechs, of course, are used to big sweeping custom-built speedways, and they're finding most of our British tracks a bit on the tight side, although at 374 yards, King's Lynn is one of our bigger brethren in the speedway left now, as the battle is joined up front with young Joe Screen, who never gives up, going hard after Richard Knight now, and Knight will need all his track craftiness and awareness of the Saddlebow Road circuit to hold this young man from Bellevue in second place. He's a real trier, Joe Screen. But conjecture just how quickly, if only he could start quickly. He's certainly an entertaining character in the back, and he might just have the drop on Knight here. Just the line came a bit too quick for him. Well, here's the last lap again, and you can see the amount of ground that Joe Screen has to make up on Richard Knight. He's battling hard, and as they come out of the last corner, well, it seemed he might just have the drop, but the line came too quick. Heat 13, it's getting to be desperate days now in these final qualification heats with Gary Havelock there. Now he has a total of 6 points, and with 2 races to go should qualify, providing he does nothing extraordinary. We're reckoning 5 or 6 points will be the cut mark, so Havelock will be looked to consolidate here in Heat 13. And Beau Briel, he has 5 and he's looking for points as well, and he's livened up a bit after a slow start and has looked very lively around the first 2 corners. So Havelock on the inside in red, Lofquist almost out of contention in blue, must have a race win here to stand any chance at all. Wilson in white needs point, and so does Beau Briel, the Czechoslovakian who rides for Kings Lynn on the outside here, just digging away in the checkered yellow and black helmet. 2 Bradford riders in red and white, Kings Lynn riders in blue and yellow and black helmets, coming under the starter for heat number 13. The view as they get away, and it's Havelock and it is Wilson. Havelock and Wilson, the 2 Kings Lynn riders are left, and now here comes Briel with a terrific dash around the outside, and Beau Briel really picked up some impetus there and soared around the outside of both Wilson and Gary Havelock, and Havelock's at the back, and that is unexpected. He's now having to start to work to get past Dennis Lofquist. There he goes, got past 1, but Beau Briel, who needed points, and we were beginning to wonder if he could find something special. He certainly has here. He leads it. Second place is Wilson. Third place now Gary Havelock, and Gary Havelock really beginning to find overdrive to try and find something extra from heat number 13. Still that same order around the last corner. Beau Briel takes 3 points here, takes them on to 8, should be enough. And right on the line, Havelock spikes seem to seize. I think he just held on for the odd point there, but it was Briel who won it with a really impressive swooping first corner. There was Gary Havelock, and right on the line his machine gave the impression of seizing. He's looking down most anxiously. I think he held on for the 1 point. Here's the start again. Keep your eye on the rider on the outside. Beau Briel in yellow and black, because he certainly didn't make the jump. It was Wilson that got away with Havelock, but Briel keeps the throttle screwed open, gets around the outside. He's out with his drive. Perfect piece of cornering. Heat 14 coming up, and we're running out of qualification races, and each of the riders will know exactly what he needs to do now. And certainly Joe Screen here in red has 6 points, and he knows here he really needs at least 1 point. Heat 14, Joe Screen inside, then Louis. Grid 3, Ermolenko. Outside, unbeaten Gustafsson. There is Joe Screen, who really gets clear at the start and always seems to have to give 120% to get points from the back. Here we go in Heat 14, what will happen here? And this time, again, he's got away. There it is, he's got away, but Gustafsson's got around the outside of him as they all part into the first corner. It is Gustafsson leading second place in Screw, one of his rare games. We must put that one down for the history books. And in third place, Ermolenko and Louis in contention. It looks as though Gustafsson is intent on going through the card unbeaten. Certainly through his qualification races, he has looked dominant and rarely troubled, although he's had to come through from one of the rear positions time and again. Had to here because Screen was away. into the last lap. And remind you, it's a knockout competition from the semis and the final, and it hasn't been unknown in Speedway for a rider to win all of his qualification races like Gustafsson's going to, and then miss out in the semis and the final. He wins the race. Second place is Screen, doing just enough. Third place is Ermolenko, and Louis should go through quite comfortably on 8 points as well. Well, here's the start, and I know Master Joe Screen will want to keep this one in his video library because he's almost guilty of making the gate. As he gets to the first corner, who's the first? Well, they're coming across from the outside. Ermolenko is there, and here comes Gustafsson, but Joe Screen's in front here, but Gustafsson is exactly where he likes to be, on the outside, with plenty of room to manoeuvre, and he's away, and that means he's going into the semis unbeaten, the only rider in the field.
So by the time it came to heat 15, we knew who the 8 qualifiers would be. Gary Havelock, number...
semi-final grid position. He picked up his second win of the day in fine style.
So here are the 8 qualifiers having completed their 5 rides in the heats. Unbeaten and well clear at this point, although it doesn't matter anymore. Henrik Gustafsson on 15 points. Richard Knight, the second highest qualifier, on 11. And then Sam Ermolenko and Gary Havelock on 10 apiece. Then we have 4 riders on 8, Sean Wilson, Beau Briel, Chris Louis and Joe Screen. And now we're going to shake up for the semis, and we'll be right back with those lineups for you.
Again, we're down to the final stages now of the Barnum Trophy meeting here at Kings Lynn. Here's how they line up in the 2 semi-finals.
In the first semi-final, it's Henrik Gustafsson,
Gary Havelock, Chris Louis and Joe Screen. And they line up like this in the second semi-final.
The question is, Henrik, can you keep going?
Yeah, hopefully I can do that, and it doesn't matter, you have to be in the 2 first in the semi-final, then it's the final that counts.
That's right, of course, because you've done so well so far, unbeatable, but it could all blow up in your face, as it were.
Yeah, if I came 3rd or 4th in my semi-final, everything's gone.
Chris Louis.
Champions of any particular discipline or nation.
We have Henrik Gustafsson there, who is only 20 years old, 21 next month. Gary Havelock will be next to him, and he's 22. There he is in blue. In grid 3, it is going to be Chris Louis, who was just turned 22 on July the 9th. And on the outside, Joe Screen, who we need to remind you is the youngest rider in the field, is 18. And in fact, it is the grid draw has put Louis into grid 2, and that's interesting because Havelock is perhaps the faster starter of the 2, and the 2 Englishmen will be looking to try and contain Reid Gustafsson here. Remember, 2 to qualify. Gustafsson hasn't been beaten. This is the first semi-final. Can he continue that unblemished record? Is the way to go. And up to the first corner, and it is Gustafsson's got a flyer. Gustafsson's away in second place. It is Louis. Third place, hard coming around the outside here. It is Joe Screen, and Screen it is. It's moved up to challenge Gustafsson. That's a terrific first lap from Joe Screen, who was on the outside and kept going. There seems to be no room at all. And Joseph Screen, the youngest of them all at 18, is in front, and Gustafsson is behind and isn't catching him. Third place, it is Louis, and Havelock, who we had expected England's main thrust to come from, is at the back and going nowhere. Well, Screen has a quick look in and sees that Gustafsson is by no means finished as they come up into the last lap here. Diagonal flag goes out, 374 yards to go, and Joe Screen on the back of a first lap which was little short of sensational and really showed up his terrific courage and skill, but round the outside, and he's going to go into the final with Henrik Gustafsson's scalp on his belt. Well, let's look at this first lap again from Joe Screen on the outside, because he certainly doesn't make the start. It looked like Louis, and then Gustafsson on the inside, but Joe Screen gets out on the outside. Remember, it's in the yellow and black helmet. Now look at him come here, and just when it looks like he has the run, Chris Louis in white moves up outside Gustafsson as well. Then Gustafsson comes back into the picture. It really is dicing, absolutely elbow to elbow, but Screen gets away, and that's a tremendous piece of riding. Coming into the second semi-final there is Sutton Sam Ermolenko, who qualified with 10 points, just a little jot off his top form perhaps, just having a little bit of a concern with the tyres he's using. His machine, he has said, isn't quite set up for them. He has looked down on power, still a force to be reckoned with. Sam Ermolenko in blue, and he has Richard Knight, and they had a terrific battle there last time, you'll recall. There is Richard Knight. And Knight will be in red here. We also have Beau Brill, who's improved as the meeting is unfolded, and it is a bit slicker.
Let's have a look here on the inside here. Next to him will be Richard Knight. With 3 is Beau Brill.
He's one to watch. He's improved as the afternoon has unfolded. And on the outside, Sean Wilson, who'll give it to 120%. And as we've seen in the first semi-final, if you are optimist enough to keep the throttle open around the outside, it can really reap dividends for you. Coming into line, second semi-final, Ermolenko, then Knight, grid 3 has Brill. On the outside it is Wilson. Here we go. It looks as though it's Knight that's away. Knight and Ermolenko as they battle around the outside. Here comes Brill. Brill goes through, and the inside. Brilliant piece of riding from the Czechoslovakian. Wilson is coming hard. Dan Hilson has gone down there as he tried to move Richard Knight over. But Beau Brill really setting this second semi-final alight as Wilson remounts, in no danger there. Second place, it is Knight. Ermolenko not looking as though he is going to make much impact on this semi. Well, Beau Brill, this young man from Czechoslovakia, and his machine stopped. Oh, just as we were about to laud his praises, his machine gave up the ghost with just over a lap to go, and that's desperately bad luck. It's going through then
Richard Knight. And that is a new machine that was presented to
Brill as Richard Knight takes advantage of his good fortune. He will win the second semi-final. Sam Ermolenko will go through at a canter. And there is Brill, and that is really desperately bad luck. He'd ridden a brilliantly brave first lap, and here's Bill Barker, the King's Lynn promoter, just commiserating with him. He was absolutely guaranteed a place in the final. Then the machine packed up just as we were about to call him home.
Well, chaps, you're both through to the final, but it has to be said, Sam, somebody up there likes you.
That's it, man. I'm having all the luck. I mean, I got that one point that was probably vital for me to get through the semis. And then that last one, I was satisfied with not going through, and bam, somebody had a problem, and Richard was gone out of the start and left me standing there. I'm still having a lot of teething problems, but no excuses. That was a good race.
You got a feel for old Bob, though.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I just got caught a little bit coming out the corner, and I just wasn't there, and all of a sudden Bob just came by and he was gone, and he was there. He was definitely there for the win, and his bike went. That Speedway happens to us all.
Well, Bob, what can we say?
It's the engine, but I know what is wrong. I think piston broken.
But it was a new bike today, and it was going so well for you.
Yeah, his first 2 hits was everything very tight. I was alright, but only 2 laps.
Well, these are anxious moments for the family Gustafsson. That's the youngster there, is Simon and his girlfriend Pia. As they prepare for the final, it's going to be a more nerve-wracking occasion for them than I'm sure it will be for Henrik. And so we come on to the final of the 1991 Barnum Trophy. In fact, the draw has been confirmed now, and it is quite an important draw, that it will be Knight on the inside in the white helmet, then Joe Screen in red. Grid 3 will have Sam Ermolenko in yellow and black, and on the wide outside in blue, Henrik Gustafsson. Now the outside may well just have the edge here, particularly with Gustafsson, who loves to attack around the outside, around the first two corners. So you can reckon that Knight will try and swing him out here. The final of the 6-lap Barnum Trophy, and straight into the lead. It is Ermolenko, and Ermolenko's made his best start of the day. He's in front. In second place, coming hard after him, it is Joe Screen, and it is a real battle for the odd position as now Gustafsson starts to make his. Gustafsson's moved up from last into second place, and they go over the line, and 1 lap gone. Ermolenko in front, the old fox, but he has got a very young hair on his tail now. In third place, it is Screen, but the battle is between Ermolenko and Gustafsson, and has Sam Ermolenko got the guile and the stealth and the track car to hold out a much speedier young adversary behind him. Ermolenko still in front, Gustafsson going hard up, and remember, at 6 laps, will the pace tell for Ermolenko? He's a real canny old campaigner as he swings out here, and Gustafsson trying to get down the inside of him, and Ermolenko moves across the cover still. They're piling up behind, and Screen isn't finished, and Screen's a young man who will hold a bit back and still keep going. Still the battle up front, and this time it is Gustafsson's gone around the outside, and Ermolenko tried to move to cover him. He just didn't have the pace, and now it is Gustafsson in front as Lynn erupts. Second place, Ermolenko's third still. It is Joe Screen, and Gustafsson is going away as they hit lap number 6. Well, it really has been a fascinating final, and oh dear me, just as we said that, Ermolenko's bike has given up the ghost. He's contributed so much to this final, but Gustafsson's bike stopped as well, right on the line, and that is positively theatrical. Well, you wouldn't have scripted that if you were Walt Disney. First Ermolenko stopped, then Gustafsson stopped on the last lap, and that let Joe Screen in, and that is truly remarkable, and the crowd are stunned. Well, Joe Screen, perseverance paid off, but you will never see a more dramatic race in the world of Speedway if you go from Melbourne to Moscow. So let's watch it again. You can see here the last lap, and first of all, keep your eye open for Ermolenko. There's Gustafsson in the lead, and Ermolenko, just as they hit this second corner, his bike, just you can see there, absolutely seizes. So it's all over now, bar the shouting, apart from Gustafsson as they come up into the last couple of laps. In fact, Richard Knight gets up into second place. Now keep your eye on Gustafsson because his bike stops there, and Joe Screen, who in fact was in last place as they entered that last corner, in fact goes over the line to win the prize. Quite amazing. Well, there is Joe Screen, and well, yes, he's been a lucky young man, but you've got to take your hat off for his perseverance. In fact, when we look back again on our replay, as they went into the last two corners, he was in last place, and in a 6-lap race to come through and still win it, it just is a credit to his perseverance and determination. But he's delighted. He could hardly been expected to win it, but that, as they say, is Speedway.
Your bike has obviously given up there. What actually happened? There you were approaching the finishing line. What happened?
Seized up, I think.
No problems with fuel?
No.
How do you feel?
Not too good. Not too good.
Yeah, he was probably the best rider in the day, and he probably got robbed more than anybody, and that's a shame. But as Richard said earlier, that's racing.
And the youngest rider in the competition. Be a few big names here today.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people who had bad luck today, so I'm glad I finished on top, but you've got to commiserations for the rest who had bad luck.
Yeah. What should I say?
Hard lines.
Yeah.
We didn't have a successful day, but at the end of the day, we got some testing in, as well as won a couple races and won some nice prizes and had a good time.
And that's where we leave it from Kings Lynn. Yet another day's eventful racing. Next week, it's more motorbikes, motocross this time, with a round of the British Championship. Join us again then.